And we're live. So, hello, NuPIC.
Great start.
Yeah, good start. This is June 12th, NuPIC Development Progress Review. We've got a full house today. We've got several interns at NuMenta that have been helping out with NuPIC development. So we'll go through and let them give some updates on things that they've been working on. First, I will go over a few developments. One, if you haven't noticed, is that NuMenta has open sourced more application code for NuMenta apps that we have been working on over the past year or two, etc. So it's in a repo called NuMenta Apps. This includes several things: Grok for IT analytics, the mobile code for Grok, also a new application we haven't talked about called Grok for Stocks, codenamed Taurus, which is similar to Grok but operates on stock volume data and Twitter data. And then some supporting code that these run on top of, some utility code, and the HTML engine. The HTML engine may be an interesting entry point for some of you trying to build more scalable NuPIC applications. And I'm working on creating a tutorial for this that will run 100 or 200 models all at the same time, all live, making anomaly detection notifications all at once. So stay tuned for more developments on this code base. If you've been following us, you'll know we've also just wrapped up a hackathon almost 2 weeks ago now. I finally have all of the videos up on our YouTube channel. You can just search YouTube for NuPIC hackathon and you'll get tons of videos. Okay, other than that, Scott mentioned on the mailing list, we've changed our roadmap priorities a little bit. We gave the Windows build a bump into high priority, partially because at the hackathon there were quite a few people that were expecting NuPIC to run on Windows and couldn't go very far without working out of a VM. So that's one big reason we thought we'd increase this priority. We're working on ways that we can get this stuff done. We're a little bit stalled. And we've also been continuing work on serialization, pluggable components. I don't think I'm going to go over the entire roadmap, but I will ask some people in the room to say a few things about the progress that they have made on some of these issues. We've closed out quite a few issues over the past couple weeks. I honestly have not been keeping track very well of all of this with the hackathon closing up, and I've been working on video editing and stuff like that. So let's talk about pluggable components for a moment. Oh, I love this. Okay. Akila has been working on pluggable components. Can you say a bit about what you're working on, what you've done, and what the whole point is?
Sure. So right now I set it up so users can create a custom region, and they can register that region with NuPIC. They can create a custom region in either C++ or Python, and they can register any Python region in Python, and the C++ regions and in C++. Currently, the name of the region needs to be the same as the actual file. So I'm right now working on setting it up so the class name could be different than the file name.
So more flexibility,
Yeah.
Easier for people to extend NuPIC with their own region definitions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also updated the network API demo to show how to add custom encoders just by using the multi-encoder.
Great. Okay. And we also have Tom Silver. You have been working on an SP bug, right?
Yeah, well, I can first talk about something related to what Akil was talking about.
Yeah, go for it.
So I just got started working on network API as well. And in the spirit of making things easier to use, I'm starting to bundle regions together that are commonly put together. So like record sensor region and spatial pooler and temporal pooler are often put together. So I'd like to make it easier for people to just call one function and have that all wrapped together.
Is that going to be an OPF functionality or?
Perhaps. We're still in the planning stages.
Okay.
Yeah, right now I'm just kind of making a demo of it.
Cool.
And yeah, so the other thing I'm working on is this spatial polar initialization weird thing that we found in the way that permanences were set. So now it's a little bit more intuitive, the way that we're setting permanences, and the effects of that have kind of cascaded throughout all of NuPIC. So I've been working on seeing how that affects overall accuracy, and also do we need to reset other parameters so that the overall pipeline still makes sense. We're closing that out pretty soon.
Great.
So if you look at the top project priorities, there's the serialization, which David Ragazzi has started working on, and I'm still working on. And so that's getting pretty close. There's kind of one main blocking thing.
He has a few open PRs on serialization, I think.
Yeah, some of them we can't merge yet because.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, that's making good progress, and then Keelan's done a good job with pluggable regions. There's a couple other places, like the pluggable components, a couple other places that would be useful as well, like encoders. And then the flexible network configuration is what Tom was looking at, and he kind of came up with a list of different things that we could do. One of which is just create some functions for making the default, or the most common network configurations, as he mentioned. So I think we're making a lot of good progress on this stuff.
All right, excellent news. Also, a quick build check. Remember we had this bad build area where builds were running really long. Everything's running smoothly now. We have the occasional error build. It's usually because of a timeout or a botched deployment, which is a network connectivity problem. So all these builds are doing well, and NuPIC and of course NuPIC Core always runs pretty smooth. So builds are in a good state. We still have a lot of open pull requests. We're hovering at between 30 and 40. But there's still a lot of old ones that they're not quite as stalled as they used to be. They're getting some interaction, they're Q&A back and forth, but still a lot of open PRs. But let's see, aside from, I think that's all that I wanted to go over. A lot of stuff has gone on over the past couple weeks with the hackathon. But as far as, hey, there's David Ray. Hi, David Ray.
I just got my computer back from the infirmary, so I had to quickly install Google Hangouts and all of this stuff.
Well, you're just in time to give an HTML Java update, and I know that you have some news.
Yeah, not much has been going on. No, I'm just joking. We just released the network API, which should make it very easy for users to integrate their applications into, integrate HTML.java into their applications. So there's that. We've also updated it, and we've pushed it out to Sonatype Nexus. So that should make it easy.
It's in Maven, right? So people can put it in their palms.
That's right. That's right. So so yeah, you can include the dependency declaration in your POM file, and you can use the source control management to bring it into your project. And
so that's sort of similar to us getting NuPIC up on PyPy.
Okay. I have no knowledge about the Python world, so I'm kind of lost there. Up on what kind of pie?
Never mind.
Apple pie. But anyway, so yeah, the network API allows people to do streaming applications. It has some really funky built-in libraries that support some really funky idioms, so that you can do parallelization at some point, as soon as I work out the thread safety of encoders and some downstream algorithms and stuff. I talked to Subotai about parallelizing the inhibition phase of the spatial pooler at the hackathon. So we could get, anyway, so I modified this whole batch streaming thing, and it gets 30% more performance. It's 30% faster than the out-of-the-box JDK Streams API. So because it uses batching. So I mean, I'm really looking forward to being able to exercise it and see what we get. Also, I combined it with a reaction. I'm sorry, a FRP library. This is kind of a functional reactive events emitting library where you can use it with asynchronous applications. So you can basically combine algorithms in an algorithmic output that comes in the form of an observable, which you can combine and use like map reduce functions and things like that. All of the nodes in the network emit an inference object, and they take in an inference object, and they automatically configure according to whatever the input is. So if you have a spatial pooler and a temporal memory, or you only have a temporal memory, or you only have a classifier, it adapts and transforms dynamically the data coming in, and it produces an inference object that you can then, an observable, which you can either get the inference out of, or you can, do all sorts of things like delay windows and skip. I use it to do things like warm up the spatial pooler. You can declare that you want to warm up the spatial pooler for 100 cycles before you allow anything through to the temporal memory and things like that. So it's got a ton of features. So there's a wiki for it that we produced, and it has a quick start guide, and from the quick start guide, it has a components overview page. From that page, it should list all of the components and the network infrastructure too. So all of the components of the network infrastructure, like layers and regions and all of that. And you can drill down into that page for really detailed information on all of the constructs. So you can understand it on a conceptual level also. But the quick start guide should get you up and running. I mean, I show on it that there's a 7 to 8 line statement that allows you to get a whole network up and running, including spatial pooler and multi-encoder.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. So how many lines is that? Did I lie?
There's 12.
It's about 8 or 9, right? Yeah. So you can get a classifier and that both initializes a classifier and an anomaly computer.
Very cool. There were some Java heads on Twitter that were excited about you using their FRP stuff.
Yeah. So you can even insert your own nodes inside of the network API. So you can add a function instead of adding a spatial pooler at one of those points. So you can do anonymous processing inside of the node, and as long as you know how to take in an inference object and emit an inference object, it won't make any difference to the network. So the only thing right now is that it doesn't have, here's the caveat. So it doesn't have any serialization right now. So you can't really save your networks unless you want to do it by hand yourself. But what it will do, it will make it, all of this, the way we have it put together, will make it really easy to reconstruct a network. But serialization is probably going to be one of the next steps. And I need to talk to Scott about this. I attempted to at the hackathon, but I was just overstimulated. I had too many people to talk to and stuff. So I couldn't focus on just, on the things.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't have a hack, and I'm extremely disappointed in you. And I don't know if I'm going to invite you back to the next one.
Oh no!
I'm just joking, David. Okay. Any other major things, Dave? That's a big update. So.
Yeah. Okay. So also, you and I need to, when you get back from your vacation, I'm giving you only 2 days, so I don't know how much time you think you're taking, but You've only actually got 2 days, but we need to sit down and talk about like a release schedule for it. That's all. I don't have any experience in creating a release schedule and all of that. So now that we have it releasable to Sonatype and everything, we have all the ingredients. We just have to make the meal. So.
Yeah, well, I promise when I get back, as soon as I'm done with the HTML engine tutorial, I'll work explicitly on that.
All right. And I volunteered with I can't remember his name. It begins with a T, I think. But I'd like to participate in any development you guys are doing for the network API on the Python and C++ side, because I just banged my head on this. So I came out with a few insights, but it might be good to even work with that anyway, because we want to kind of keep the two versions in sync as much as possible. So.
Well, I'll encourage everyone here to use the NuPIC hackers mailing list when they're talking about the changes to or developments to that API.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
Right now.
Also, I need to talk to Scott about like what are the constraints in terms of, does the Python network API do merging? So merging of two peered regions into a single region, and what happens to the SDR in that case? And I don't know if you're doing that, or because right now the Java version only does one, vertical pipe straight up. So.
Yeah. So we should have some examples.
So it does do it. We just don't have examples.
For merging two regions into one region, do you need a different link type?
No.
Okay. Yes, it does. Do it.
You just connect them both to the destination thing, and I think the engine will automatically concatenate them.
Okay.
So it becomes one large SDR. You don't attempt to subsample or anything.
Well, that's up to the algorithm how it subsamples it.
Which algorithm?
Whichever algorithm that region, the destination region.
It's the responsibility of the region to do that.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Do you have examples of subsampling? Do you have idioms already worked out for it, or?
Well, all our stuff subsamples. So the spatial subsample from the inputs, and the temporal memory, I guess, doesn't subsample from the bottom-up inputs.
Right.
Yeah. That's an algorithmic thing. We don't want to force the code to do that. It depends. Like an encoder might not subsample.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's move along.
No. I got more. I'm just joking.
Okay. You always with you and the jokes. Jeez. Richard, you're on. Do you have anything to add since you're here? Or are you just lurking?
I'm muted.
You're muted, by the way. I don't think I can unmute him. But okay. So since judging from, he has C-Lang working in Visual Studio. All right.
Oh, that's huge.
Yes,
Great.
that could be a huge step towards the Windows build working. So awesome. Good job, Richard. Keep us up to date with.
Did you figure out all your swing issues, Richard? Richard Crowder.
Yeah, Richard. He says, reply to Scott in the making.
Great.
Okay. Not yet. All right. Thank you, Richard Crowder. That's awesome.
Richard is a robot.
Yeah. Yeah, Richard, you're just a bot in the Hangout. So that's all. That's all.
Nice one, Richard.
Hopefully this comes out in the YouTube video, because sometimes they strip this stuff out and it makes no sense. We'll see. So if anybody's really confused, there's some things at the bottom of the screen down here. Anyway. So I am going to be out for about half of this next 2-week period. Starting Tuesday, I'll be back Wednesday of the next week. So don't expect much from me there. But when I'm not on vacation, I'll be working on this HTML engine tutorial, which I think is going to turn out to be really useful as we've open sourced this application code, especially for people who don't want to dig all the way down into NuPIC, but they've got data that's in a decent, fast streaming format that, and they need a lot of models. And I know there's some in our mailing list that are in that boat, so this should be useful. Otherwise, does anybody else in the room have anything they want to talk about before we adjourn for the period? Very good. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys on the mailing list.